Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. It's home to the tallest peak on Earth. And while we've all heard of Mount Everest, most of us know very little about the country where Everest is located. It's the country of Nepal. Recently, a scientist with the University of Vermont Extension visited Nepal, and she's here today to share some of the culture and the countryside. And Hazelrigg is a frequent contributor who helps us understand pests and diseases that affect our plants and gardens. She is an extension instructor and the director of UVM's Plant Diagnostic Clinic. Great to see you again, and kind of fun not to talk about pests too much, but about something else cool that you did, which is culture of Nepal. So you just recently came back from Nepal. Why were you there? What took you there?
Well, I go over on these assignments with USAID, the Farmer to Farmer project, which links volunteers from the U.S. to go over and work with farmers in various countries, and I like going to Nepal, so I worked with Catholic Relief Services to go to Nepal, and I worked on a disease called club root. Wow. It's a really bad, hard disease in that country, and it causes, the picture up on the left, it causes those symptoms, really clubbed roots.
Right, those are the roots.
Yeah, so the roots, it's a soil-borne disease, and then when they get those clubs, they can't take up water and nutrients, so they wilt and die, and in some cases they lose their entire crop, which is a big deal for these farmers. It's a big loss of money and income.
Subsistence farmers, really.
Yeah, they basically
90% in that area, 60% in the country are agriculture. But
yeah,
I think
90% of the farmers in this area rely on agriculture, and they grow these plants on very, very small plots, less than an acre almost always. So they're really, they need every crop to succeed, really.
Right, and they might need to change up their crops because this one is really having a problem.
Yeah. But cauliflower and cabbage is a big food staple there, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about culture today, so we'll move from that. So tell us a little bit about the country itself and where you were.
Yeah, so I flew to Nepal, and Nepal is this very small landlocked country in between China and India, two of the most populated countries. And the picture on the right shows you the size of Nepal. It's really very small. It's only 550 miles long and 125 miles wide.
Wow. So almost the size of New England if you tip it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a fascinating place agriculturally, because in that width, that 125 mile width, that goes from Everest at however tall that is, really tall, down to the plains of India. And these are the plains of India called the Terai. And so that's very low. You can grow mangoes there and rice and probably citrus. And then you go all the way up to the top of Everest.
Which is I 10 times the height of Mansfield.
Okay,
like that,
there you go.
Yes.
But anyway, I put in a picture. I think we're all familiar with that picture recently of the that sort of backup of all the climbers
of Everest. I know.
Yeah, hiking up. Yeah,
that's the most frightening picture.
I know.
Well, you got to be kidding.
Yeah. No, I have no interest in doing that. But anyway, horticulturally, I mean, they can grow such a wide range within all those different altitudes. So it's pretty fascinating agriculturally what they can grow.
And so how do they sell their produce?
Well, the problem in that country is that there lacks a lot of infrastructure. You know, they've got these two, India and China, they could sell everything to those countries, but they just don't have the roads or the transportation or the storage to do this. And where I was, this is, they had just harvested a lot of potatoes, and so they would put them in bags, leave them in the sun, which another volunteer had tried to get them to at least put them in the shade.
Right.
And, so a lot of things are sold in Kathmandu or in nearby cities.
Okay. And I take it that truck was one of the things that would pick those up.
Yeah, so the truck would take them, and they might take them to Kathmandu. Maybe they'd take them to India or China, but mostly it's in local.
Right, and you have some pictures of some of the markets.
Well, a lot of the farmers, they sell their things locally.
Yeah.
So, one thing I love about Nepal is I love going to all the different markets.
Yeah.
This is a vegetable market. I think this was in Kathmandu, actually. The next one was a vegetable market down in the Terai on the Indian border, where I did one assignment. And it's just beautiful colors, beautiful crops.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are these the farmers or their families doing
no,
this?
they're probably
probably
the farmers.
the farmers.
Yeah.
The farmers themselves that do this.
And this was a different market. These were all different dyes. They're not vegetables, but they're all the different dyes for the Hindu festival Holi, which occurs after winter, sometime in the spring.
It's a spring.
Right.
Spring holiday celebration.
Right.
Where with all the colors, people throw these
people
colors.
throw all these colors and you get covered in dyes. And you were saying they do it at
do it in Burlington.
Yeah.
They do it in Burlington.
Yeah, so I think it's catching on.
It's fabulous. Yeah, I recommend it. It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
And while you were in Nepal, there was a different festival and you took part of it.
Yeah, so it's always interesting when you do these assignments. You have to be ready for anything.
Right.
So we get there and they say, well, we're not going to work for a few days because it's a big Hindu festival called Teej, which is a celebration of women.
Great.
And part of the festival is you're supposed to wear red. So I said, I need to get something red because they wanted me to, go to the celebration. So my interpreter, Chan, he's such a nice guy. He said, okay, let's go to a shop. So we went to a local, the village, and I went in and I said, I need something red for Teej. And so I thought you just went in and tried on a small, medium, or large. But you pick out what you like, and then you get measured for it. So they take all your measurements, and then you come back the next day, and for $24, I got this salwar kameez or kurta kameez, which is a traditional Indian or Nepali outfit. I didn't go the full sari route because I didn't think I could probably keep it on. I didn't know how to tie everything. But it's
gorgeous.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. And the women are so beautiful, so colorful. They all wear their finest outfits to this festival. And a lot of those women are farmers. And that's why we couldn't do any of the assignment then, because they were all attending this Teej Festival. And this is some of the women sitting outside. There was a big lunch during the festival and lots of dancing, and it was quite a production.
So what are the men doing during this time?
Well, they're just probably making the lunch maybe, or feeding people, or just celebrating the women. Yeah, I had to go out there and dance a lot, which was not a pretty sight, but they were very enthusiastic that I was there participating, so it was fun.
But it's mainly the women getting together and they're
it's
dancing
all the
and
women.
doing things,
and
the men are supportive.
It's all about the women.
I love that.
Yeah,
wow.
It's good. That's a festival we need to bring here, maybe.
and that's part of travel that's so exciting, that kind of thing. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So what about the food? There's always food is always different in different places.
Yeah, that's one reason I like to go to Nepal and India, is because I love the food, and I'm a vegetarian, and it's really easy to be a vegetarian there. Right. So I have a slide. This was I would do lectures during the day, or we'd do farm visits, and then at lunch we'd walk across the street and there'd be a freshly made lunch every day. And this guy is sitting there making hundreds of these little momos, which are like Tibetan dumplings. So we each got to try to make momos. I was not very good at it, but the food is awesome. And then one of the highlights of this trip was the guys, the interpreter I was with, and some of the farmers knew this local woman that had a little restaurant. So they said, would you cook us this special meal called Dido that they don't get very often? So she agreed to cook this meal for us. This is her kitchen, which also was the bedroom too, but it was like a 3-hour production where she made this meal for us, and then served it. This is what it is. Dido is that white stuff on the plate. It's like a polenta, kind of, but it takes hours and hours to cook. And
is it from rice or corn,
I think
or some kind
maybe
of
flour?
Flour.
I think it was flour. She gave me a huge plate of it, and I took
Did
most of it off. And gave it to the guys, but they loved it. So it's always really fun to get to do something like that.
So when you say that's a restaurant, she cooks, and it's her bedroom and her kitchen, and then do you eat just outside, or in that house, or
right there in that kitchen, sitting on the beds, and the family gets kicked out while we're there. But I think it's a thing where they arrange for her to make them tea or to make
right.
a meal for them,
Right.
for local people.
And it's great to go into these homes as well and really get a sense of how they live.
Oh yeah, exactly. She cooked most of the meal on an outside fire, but then finished it up inside on a gas stove.
So you've accepted a number of work assignments
Yeah.
in Nepal. What is it that you love about going there? Why do you've returned? This was your 6th trip.
Yeah, well, I love the country. The people are so friendly and welcoming, and I've really enjoyed the interpreters I've worked with. In fact, I have a picture of the gentleman in the hat. Subhas is from an assignment probably 16 years ago that I did, and I still keep in touch. And all the interpreters that I'd worked with in past years heard I was coming back, so they all wanted to come and have tea with me. And Subhas has actually come to Vermont and stayed with us in our home. And so I love working with the interpreters, and I love working with the farmers and just trying to help them.
Right.
Yeah.
So and you did. So here you are working with the farmers, and here's this is a beautiful.
I know, isn't that a
photograph.
gorgeous? That's from one of my trips. I just thought it's, you know, it's the little girl is following. The women are really the workhorses. The
workhorses.
Yeah,
clearly.
and so I just felt like she has her time to be a little girl, but soon enough she's going to be a workhorse also.
Right, and you must feel you're making a dent. You're helping out.
Yeah, I'm helping out, I think, but you know, none of these assignments, there's no easy fix to anything. But I think it's, you know, we make connections, and you know, I think they learn something along the way. You know, maybe about pesticide safety, maybe about the disease.
A lot of education takes place.
A lot of education, yeah. So it's really great.
Fabulous on both sides.
Yeah, it is.
And Hazelrigg, thank you so much for coming in and talking about Nepal with us today.
Sure, thanks.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.